Hey there guys, how's it going today? In this video for today, I'm discussing when you should mulligan. Alrighty, so in this video today, as I said, I'm discussing when you should mulligan. And mulliganing is another thing that you have to sort of do, I guess, when you start playing the game. Like, I think the thing about Magic and that is no matter what format you're playing, even if you're playing one of the most casual games or one of the most casual forms of the game, like at your kitchen table with some friends, with some pizza, whatever, things like this, with some KFC, whatever it is, like, again, you'll draw your hand of 7 and you'll look at that hand of 7 and you go, well, this isn't a very good hand. Let me just ship that away and get another one, please. Something slightly better. But even I say when you've got a terrible hand, absolutely, of course, you should do it when you've got a terrible hand. That's kind of obvious. Like, if you've got, no lands, then that's a terrible hand. Yeah, sure, you can risk it for the biscuit, but I just wouldn't. Again, yes, it's one of those things. This is a strategy game, and I sort of said that. But again, it's sucky to say that this is strictly a strategy game. But the thing is, let's think about it in another format, for a second. Okay, the fact is, let's say you've got a hand of 0 lands. Instead of saying it's just purely about strategy, now let's say it's purely about fun or whatnot. Yes, sure, you could have fun, I guess, in theory, maybe, with a no-land hand, by how silly it is that you're just not getting lands or you have no lands to a degree, but I don't think that that's actually that fun. What you actually want to do is actually be able to play the game. So having that chance to say, okay, this hand isn't going to allow me to have any fun in this game because I've got no lands, I've got no mana to start playing anything. So therefore I should get rid of this hand and get another one, therefore I should mulligan. Or the opposite is the same thing. If you've got a hand full of lands and basically nothing else, it's like, well, this isn't a good hand. And yes, sure, again, you could have that chance of being like, well, I could risk it for the biscuit, and that could be fun to a degree. But again, how much fun are you going to have? Because again, yes, sure, you can play lands, but beyond that, what, you have no game plan after that. It's like, okay, I hope I top deck something. You want a hand that is somewhere in the middle. Like you have, 3 or so lands and maybe 4, and then 3 or 4 spells. Like MDFCs have changed things a lot, so that the MDFC lands that are spells on the other side or creatures on the other side really help out a lot. And things like that. But again, you still want to be like, dude, I can, this hand looks pretty cool. Like, I can, play something on turn 2 or 3 or whatever, and I've got enough lands to play it, and I've got the right colors of lands to play it. Seems like I can start doing something or whatever. I can get my commander out on turn 3 or turn 4 because I've got, a mana rock or whatnot. So that seems pretty good or whatnot, whatever. It's those hands when you're just like, should I mulligan this or shouldn't I mulligan this? That's where it really comes down to, deciding whether to mulligan. The hand's not terrible, but it's not super good either. Now, again, this is going to be somewhat different advice depending on, how competitive or whatnot the table is to a degree as well, or how competitive you want to be to a degree as well, I guess, kind of, or how competitive your deck is. But again, I'm just going to talk about general EDH, not CDH, because CDH is completely different and I really don't know enough about it to say, how you should mulligan in that. But I think you can be a lot more aggressive in those formats. That's sort of what I hear, mostly, that if you don't have a hand that basically wins or a hand that protects you from somebody else winning or basically both at the same time, and enough mana to do whatever you're doing all of the stuff with, then you don't really keep that hand. Like, that's how it is in that format. It's completely different. Like, in our format, it's like, oh, okay, cool, this is a slow hand, but is it keepable? It's probably keepable even though it's slow. Like, again, that's probably just fine. Like, it's the hands that are just, like, kind of dead. Like, okay, yes, it's not just slow that it's like, okay, I have all white spells in my hand, but all I have is green lands in my hand. So I have no way to seemingly get white, which is the color that I need to cast all of the spells that are in my hand, with the fact that I've got green lands in my hand. Maybe I'll top deck a spell that gets me a white land, but again, or maybe I'll top deck that white land, but again, I don't want to have a hand where the hand just doesn't function based on the lands and cards that are actually in my hand. I want to go, okay, cool. I want the hand to be like, okay, I have something that I can cast, or I have the right mana to cast the things that are in my hand. So those are other hands that you don't want to keep. You go, wow, I've got all these white spells, or whatever color it is, doesn't really matter, and I've got all this red mana in my hand, or I've got the opposite, whatever. It doesn't matter. Again, you just want to be able to cast things. Again, even if you say, well, I could top deck something, yeah, sure, again, you can, for the shits and gigs, whatever, try to play the game with a hand that isn't as good as what it could be, but I think you shouldn't. Like, you should try to go, okay, cool. Especially when you're in Commander and you've got that free one mulligan anyway, so you might as well use that one as well. Like, you might as well. Like, unless your hand is pretty good, you should just use it. Like, it's just like, well, this hand, it has some cards in it. I might as well see what my next hand is. Like, it could be better, it could be worse. Like, so, if that first hand isn't wowing me or isn't doing anything too amazing, I might just be like, well, you know what? I might want to try again. You know what? Whatever. Or again, it's not like you have to, but, you could just be like, well, I've got that free one, and this hand is, it's okay, it's there, but it could be better. Like, so I might as well mulligan at this point and be like, oh, okay, we'll see what I get next. And again, it could be better or it could be worse, but again, you've got that freebie, so it's like, well, you're sort of incentivized to do it. And especially with, like, the London mulligan, the fact that you get to draw the whole 7 as well once you start truly, quote-unquote, mulliganing and then putting them back to the bottom or whatever, that's pretty darn good way of mulliganing, because again, you get all those cards in hand straight away and can choose the best cards to keep and the worser cards to put to the bottom or whatnot. So that is very useful as well. It's one of those things about, like, whatever it was, the partial Paris, that I think a lot of people kind of really liked. They really liked that Scry 3 or whatnot. And a lot of people will say, hey, can we just, like, do that whole partial Paris thing where we Scry 3 at the start of the game or whatnot. And a lot of people are cool with that too and things like that, because it really helps out, like, when you're in those mid-power decks and it's just like, oh, I'll be all right if I can just find my white land and, like, can actually, like, play the game and that or whatnot. So can I just get a white land to play the game or whatnot and, like, get off square one and whatnot, rather than just sitting here and twiddling my thumbs hoping something changes. And I know some people will just be like, oh, okay, cool, well, at this point, since you've not gotten off 2 lands or whatever, and we want a real game, not just like, let's cross our fingers and hope that you top deck it or whatnot, or can get in this game eventually one of these days, just friggin' tutor for a planes or whatever you need. Like, sometimes that will happen, and that's the benefits of, like, being in a casual format as well. Like, people are very giving in those formats, because again, like, people want to see your deck doing something. Even if your deck is a really busted, broken deck, they want to be like, oh, okay, cool, now we need to deal with you, and we maybe shouldn't have done that, but whatever. At least like we're able to like play the game, and now we're able to play the game around what you're doing and whatnot. It changes the dynamic, but again, like there's not that many decks that are actually like that too much. There are decks that are like that again, but again, you don't worry about them. You just like start going, oh, okay, well we need to focus on this person because they might just kill us, like things like that. But again, when you start knowing other people's decks too, sometimes that can help you be like, well, I know that Jason over there is running a Planeswalker deck, and I know that it's pretty strong or whatnot. So, you know what? I really don't want to have to deal with his Planeswalker deck because it's hard to deal with. So, the easiest way for me to deal with his Planeswalker deck is to kill his commander, because the hardest thing to do is get past his freaking Atraxa to actually punch the goddamn Planeswalkers so that I can actually lower their loyalty and keep them in check and whatnot. So I really need to get rid of his his commander rather, sorry, so I can get out the Planeswalker. So I need to pack or have an answer in my hand if I'm going to attack him or whatnot, or his Planeswalkers. So that is what I'll do. Instead of having this hand that, it does have some creatures and it does have some ramp and it does have some other cards in it, well, I really need something to kill his commander. I need a Swords to Plowshares, I need a Beast Within, I need something. Anything. Like, sure, the Beast, if I have to swing into a Beast, that's not good, but again, it's better than having to swing into his Atraxa and being like, right, well, cool, my creature dies, and you gain 4 life. Right, great. So yeah, but again, like if you go and see, oh, okay, well, somebody over there is playing this deck, well, maybe I should mulligan to find my Swords to Plowshares, or find this, or find my Artifact or Enchantment Destruction. Like, you can, but again, that's up to you to a degree. That's like viewer discretion is advised, I guess, or whatever, player discretion is advised. Like, again, you don't want to be too competitive and cutthroat with everything. Like I say, it's not the be all and end all of playing. You don't just want to have somebody be like, okay, cool, here's turn 2, I win combo. Wasn't that a great game, everyone, or whatnot? Like, unless you're actually like playing that sort of format where that happens all the time and that's what you're fine with and that's actually what you want because you want to play that style of game. But again, like, a lot of us really don't. We want to be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we want to see like some bombs and some stuff happen and see who will like win in a longer game and a more like even game that everyone gets to like play some more dirtily cards or whatnot and things like that, or some more value cards or some more interesting like synergy cards, rather than just like, here's my combo that I tutored for and here's how I win and blah blah blah. Like, it is all the strategy game again. So unfortunately, like, mulliganing comes into strategy to a degree, and when you're facing opponents, sometimes that you go, well, maybe I should try to mulligan to try to find the answer or find something so that I'm not just dead to, or I can actually sort of semi-deal with what this person's doing. Or sometimes you just got to go, all right, cool, I've just got to take the risk, or I've just got to take that lump and be like, okay, cool, yep, my creature dies, but I get rid of your Atraxa, whatever, or that moment of something else, like, like Golas. Same thing was always with Golas. Golas was so annoying when he was in the format. It was like, okay, I'll kill your Golas. Okay, cool, Golas is back again. Oh, great, cool. All right, I'll kill Golas. Okay, cool, it's back again next turn. For God's sake, go away, Golas. Things like this. So, like, having the answer and having it sort of stick is one thing, but having it not stick is also a very real like possibility. But then like you're shutting somebody into like, well, this is the one thing that I really can do, or the one thing that I need to do in order for my deck to be doing the thing that it's doing for the most part. Like definitely with something like Goalless, it's like, well, that's what my deck's all built around. It's 100% built around getting 3 free things from Goalless and not really casting anything else unless I get Omniscience from my hand. All I do is like play lands or whatever from my hand, which I probably don't do anyway because I'll probably get a couple lands off of Goalless. So, yeah, like, things like that. But anyway, you need to always be like, well, you know what, I don't really care. Like, or I care or I don't care. Like, that's where you need to start deciding, like, some of these little things like that. Like, okay, cool, we're playing a game and, like, they might have something good, but then again, they might not. And again, you never know. They might just miss their second or third or fourth or even first land drop. They might have kept a bad hand and you might just be like, well, they're not a threat to me right now or whatever. Like, any number of things could happen in the game. That's some of the randomness that sometimes a lot of us don't like, but that's how the game is sometimes as well. It's sometimes beneficial to a degree for the other players, especially when somebody who's like often playing a much more powerful deck is just like, oh, well, I can't really do anything because I haven't hit my white source or I haven't hit my red source or this or that, and all my cards in my hand are red or whatnot, whatever. So yeah, or the combo that I need or that I have needs something, or I need to tutor for my combo or for my other piece or whatnot. But I have the combo piece or the piece that tutors for my combo, but I don't have the mana to cast it. So, or the color of mana to cast it. So things like that happen, and again, like people will hope to top deck things sometimes as well. Like some people will keep that risky hand sometimes or whatnot. So you can get all kinds of different games, and that's the randomness of like even like a 60 card deck. If you have a 60 card deck with all individually different cards, it's going to play out a lot different, than a 60 card deck where you can have 4 of basically anything and everything. And whatnot, like, because again, within those formats, even though you've got some level of consistency because you've got 4 of everything, or most things anyway, you still would have some games where you go, well, I never even saw one of my, lightning bolts or whatnot, whatever, and I've got 4 of them in here, or whatever, like if you're in burn, it's like, wow, like I still have, like, almost all of my spells are I do 3 damage to somebody's face spells, but I didn't see any of them. All I saw was my, uh, Monastery Swift Spears or whatever other 1-2 drops that you have, whatnot, in those decks, things like that. Goblin Guides and things like that. So yeah, like you can have those games where it's like weird that you didn't see the thing that 30 or 40% of your deck is actually kind of made of. Like again, you can find some cards that are very similar or do the same thing in Commander. Like you can find a whole bunch of 1 mana dorks, a whole bunch of 2 mana dorks and things like that, a whole bunch of 2 mana mana rocks and things like that. So, and 1 mana rocks and things like that. Like, so, or at least, in general, mana rocks or things that get you extra mana. So yeah, again, you can find all these things that help your deck with some level of consistency. Of course, tutors make your deck more consistent, but again, whatever. But again, you can see the randomness when you mulligan. Sometimes you go, dude, I got no lands in this hand. Or, dude, I've got like 6 lands in this hand. Like, you can really see the whole like randomness go on. And again, deciding whether to mulligan is an important thing, because even if you take it away from it's purely about strategy, and again say, okay, well, how fun is this hand to keep? What will I be able to do? How will I be able to play the game? Am I going to just sit here for 6 turns, 7 turns, 8 turns, hoping and praying that I'll, draw my white source or whatever again? Or am I sitting here going, okay, cool, great, all I've got is lands, and all I do is going to play a land, and hopefully I top deck something that I can actually play and start, getting into, the game, and start, getting more cards, because all I've got is land, so I really need that card advantage or whatnot, so that I can actually start playing things with all this mana that I've got, because all I've got to have is mana otherwise, and nothing to do with it. So the two problems are often like not enough mana and too many things to play, or too much mana and not enough things to play. So those are often the two big things. So yeah, those are the things that you most want to watch out for. But anyway, guys, again, somebody, I believe it was Matt on a YouTube, asked for me to do this mulliganing video. So thanks, Matt, for asking me to do this. And I hope it's helpful to you, and I hope it's helpful to everyone and anyone else that may tune in and have a look and see what this is all about and whatnot. Because I do try to do these things for people that hopefully are helpful, for people out there that are, playing this game and whatnot, and I think it's a great community that we all try to do our best, and, we're all become good friends in slowly but surely, and, get to know one another and whatnot, which is great, and again, we all try to help each other out. Again, as I say, we all try to find, somebody bought a zombie deck the other day here, or today, I think, or whatever, and was like, I want to upgrade this zombie deck, and I was just like, okay, cool, I'm going to look through this pile of commons and uncommons that are sitting here on the, the LGS's counter, and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to find all the good zombie cards or whatever, and then just hand them over to them and be like, hey, here you go. Some of these cards will be good for you, or these cards might be good for you, and he looked through them and, checked them out and was like, oh, okay, cool, thank you so much, and it helped him out that little bit to be like, oh, okay, cool, some of these cards might be all right to throw in this deck, and, see how I go, whatnot, maybe I'll need some other cards, but again, at least some of these cards I might need and might be useful, and I can do some stuff with them, and again, any little things that help people out, I'm always for. But anyway, guys, you can let me know what you think about mulliganing and all of that sort of stuff. Write your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be sure to try to reply to you all as best as I can. I really enjoy talking to you guys about all these things relating to all these great games that we all play. I might even start doing some game reviews or other gameplay sort of stuff and whatnot about D&D. I was thinking about D&D quite a bit actually, and King's Dilemma, was just starting to play King's Dilemma actually, Clank, other things like that. So there's all kinds of things. Let me know what you guys want to see from the gaming sort of side in the comments below, and I'll see you down there in the comments and in the next video. Hey, you've just finished watching one of our videos. A bunch of other videos are popping up on your screen now for you to check out, so why not check them out?